Hey guys, my name is Miranda Foster and I'm a parapro in special education. I currently serve in a resource setting for grades kindergarten through second. I serve 2 kindergartners, 1 first grader, and 5 second graders. So my obvious choice was to assess my second graders. Um, I sat down with my mentor and decided to discuss next steps. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that and then also what I would talk to the parents about. So when it came to the assessments that I chose for my second graders, they struggled with the nonsense word fluency the most. So some next steps with that would be to use visual aids. I can use letter tiles, flashcards, posters, anything that can reinforce those vowel sounds and patterns. We can do some auditory activities where we incorporate listening games and activities that focus on hearing and identifying those vowel sounds. I can also use kinesthetic activities moving forward that engage in hands-on activities like using letter tiles or tapping out sounds on their arm. So, for example, one of the nonsense words that they struggle with was VEP. They said veep. So I could take my arm and we could use 3 spots on our arm, the top, the middle, and the end, and say V-E-P. Or another one was, they said sib for sib. So we could say S-I-B. So I could use my arm as far as that goes, their arm, and we can do it together. And another thing we could do is practice and reinforcement. We can use nonsense word activities, regularly decoding nonsense words using lists, games, and drills. We can help them apply phonics skills in a controlled setting in that manner. We can also do reading practice where we provide decodable text that include nonsense words to reinforce phonics skills in context. As it pertains to the parents, I could introduce them to some games, some educational games that they could use with them at home. Examples would be creating bingo cards that they could take home. They could play bingo with their parents and focus on those nonsense words. Their parents could call out the sounds or words and mark the students would mark the corresponding squares. So that would be a fun game that they could play at home. Parents could use flashcards at home. Flashcards with nonsense words would help them become more familiar with them. And there's also interactive apps where they could utilize online resources that focus on phonics and decoding those nonsense words. Another thing that I saw struggle with was when we looked at their oral reading fluency. They did pretty well overall with that, but my next steps with this particular assessment would be to have them repeat the reading of that passage. They could look at it several days in a row and we could compare the words that were read in that minute, the mistakes that they made, and also the words they got correct. So as far as the oral reading fluency, we could just use repetition to correct that. And then with the San Diego Quick Assessment, I don't really know what my next steps would be with that other than use flashcards to learn those words. They did really well for the most part with that, so I could start with the grade level that they froze on and kind of repeat those words so that they can get better in that. Overall, I was really impressed with my second graders, especially since we are in a resource setting, so they do have an IEP and they do struggle. I really enjoyed sitting down with my mentor, and as far as the parents go, we just need to keep that constant communication with them and make sure that we follow up with them and that they're practicing these things at home as well.